Welcome everyone, and welcome. We thank you. We thank our the parents of three children they had in the school, but two already left, and one still there. It's Mr. Shahi and Adrian Bakmajian. They're active parents. They're a blessing to the school, and they're on the board of directors. So thank you so much for coming tonight to answer the questions. And Spencer, our alumnus. So Spencer, also he comes from a family that's very helpful and always at the school. And he has two siblings still in the school, his brother and sister. He's at John Abbott now. And we're very happy to have you tonight. So we can start, and we have Alan, our Director of Operations today with us too. So we'll be moderating, myself and Alan will be moderating the event. So Alan, you want to go ahead with the first question?
Sure. So the first question by Mrs. Dadden is that, will my daughter graduate being fully bilingual? English and French are not the first language spoken at home. Shall we start with the Bagmadian, Shahi and Adrian? Is that okay?
Sure. So I can give a little bit of our perspective. Our children attended a primary school in Laval, and it was a bilingual school. It was a French immersion program. But what we found is that even if a school is bilingual, the people that they spend time in at the lunch hour, that's really the language that they pick up. So by the time our kids had finished primary, they were primarily Anglophone, and they really struggled with French. So what we found at Emmanuel is there was really, they had friends that were Francophone and Anglophone, and their French really improved. So it wasn't because of what the school was doing, because I think the school was doing all they could do, but it was because they were able to interact with both Anglophones and Francophones. And I think that is what really helped them to round out their, sort of their language skills. Yeah, so that would be maybe what I would comment on.
Yeah, you said it well. They definitely will graduate speaking fluent French, reading, writing, as well as for English as well. And like my husband said, depending the circle, there is a strong Francophone culture in the school. So you absolutely have no doubt your daughter would definitely be speaking both languages, reading, writing, academic level quite high. Yeah.
Good.
Anything you want to add, Spencer?
I know a lot of the people from my class graduate are all in Abbott in their French classes. So there's 4 levels. Most ones are 3rd level 4. So I mean, everyone can speak French and English, and like Bajian said, I mean, there's English, there's French. I mean, everybody, you're friends with everybody, you know. So you talk with a lot of people, and you talk with both, you know.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Hope that answered your question, Mr. Haladin. So should we go to the second one?
Yeah.
Good. And the second one says, how intensive is the religious-based faith education? From a parent's point of view, we can have the answer, Mr. Bakmajian.
What we found with our children, so we had our son and our daughter in the same class. So they're in the same class. And it's very interesting because our daughter is very external about her faith, and our son is much more private about his faith. So we had 2 children in the same class, both with very different expressions of their faith. So it was very interesting for us to see how they both navigated at the same time. So what I found is that in class, the actual formal education, it's really not that intense. I think there's maybe a prayer time or 2 during the day, maybe 1 in the morning. And then sometimes, it's more where teachers make, passing comments about a subject in the context of, let's say, their faith. And then maybe what I found is that in the ERC classes, there was a little bit more, filtering is what I would say. They would represent everything that they needed to do from a Ministry of Education perspective, the content, but there was a little bit of guidance as to how that was presented. But what I found is outside of the formal education, I found that that faith presence is there for those who sought it. So for instance, my daughter, during lunchtimes, they would form groups and they would have these like pretty nice discussions about faith and different views, etc. It didn't interest my son, so he did other things. So I found if you were seeking it out, it was there and it was available and it was really nice to have. But also if you were not seeking it, you could have avoided it if you wanted to.
Yeah, I would add that there are the monthly, what do you call those? Like the monthly group, everyone all together, the monthly assemblies were more, you find religious based. There's a guest speaker, there's prayer, there's singing. But outside of the ERC and the assembly, it was a bit dependent on the teachers if they started the day off in prayer or not. And like my husband said, it really depended on the student. If they wanted to attend a Bible study during lunch hour or a prayer meeting during lunch hour, is totally up to them. But so I found it very well balanced according to what the student sought out.
And maybe if I can add just one other comment is, oddly enough, when our kids were in the public school system, at least 2 of our 3 children were bullied because of their faith, even by teachers. And that was one of the primary reasons that we started looking for a change, especially for our youngest son. And the opposite is, even though Emmanuel is a Christian school, what I found is that, like, for instance, there are students in my children's class that claim to be atheist. And they were allowed to exist and they were allowed to, and they were not bullied. So what I found is even with the Christian school, I was really happy to see that it was inclusive and there was no bullying because of somebody's faith or lack of faith.
Well, that's a very good point. Yeah. Yeah, we have 10% of non-Christian in our school. So we try to be inclusive towards them. Yeah. Anything to add, Spencer?
There was as they mentioned, the worship team. There was a full group devoted to the worship. And every assembly, often there were two times every second week, there was the worship, and there was always a good, out of the assembly, which was probably an hour and a half, a good 45 minutes, if not more, was devoted to like singing and reading and stuff like that. As they said about the classes, you do learn, like you learn with a filter too, you know what I mean? You have to learn the other stuff, it's ministry regulations, but you learn it from a Christian perspective, and we did have Bible readings, we did have stuff like that. There was even, like, as I think Talita, their daughter, was very much into those groups. And a few years before, like when I was in my first few years, there was the Bible study groups. That was at lunchtime, everything, and it was organized by a teacher and everything. So, I mean, there is a lot of, if you're looking for it, there's definitely lots of stuff. And there's a lot, and the thing is that the people around you, for a lot of the things, are interested in the same thing, because for the most part, they are Christians too, So, I mean, everyone has that perspective, that Christian view too. So they're not pulling you away from the Lord. If anything, they're bringing you closer,
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And maybe if I can add just one more, one aspect that we really liked about Emmanuel is, so we attend an evangelical church. Now I circle around, I have a little bit more awareness of what happens outside, but our kids were really raised in the culture of our church. And I really like the fact that there were children from other Christian traditions. So for instance, there's quite a bit of Coptic, and then there's other traditions as well. So I really like that our kids were actually able to see, even sometimes debate or discuss with different Christian traditions. And that's something that I found that was good for them.
Yeah, good point.
For question number 3, it's at what age my daughter can join the school? I think this one is better if the administration would answer this question. So currently, it is 5 years old before the 30th of September for our kindergarten class. We are looking into K4, K3. We're still looking into it. It's in the works. So that is not guaranteed yet that we could have those classes, but we are certainly looking into it. And hopefully in the years to come, we could open up such classes. So currently it's only 5 years old for kindergarten.
Yeah, and I think the next question too, it's about discipline. How is the culture and mainly bullying tolerance? I guess this one, I don't know if you had any experience as parents or as students before sharing it from an administration part.
Well, for us, we've dealt with different instances of bullying. And what I liked a lot, what I like about Emmanuel, the fact that it's a small school, very quickly things get noticed and handled. So there isn't a culture of carelessness or hiding what's happening. Everything is dealt with right away, as long as the right people know, which very quickly everyone knows, because it's a small school. Things got handled right away. So we were never, like, my kids never went to school afraid of what's going to happen next, or I'm going to be bullied again. If it was a one-time situation, it was really one time and it was dealt with. As for what the culture of Emmanuel, I would say the culture is one of diversity and inclusion, which is sometimes rare to find, but definitely very warm and accepting. That's how I would label it. Yeah, very diverse and inclusive all at the same time.
No, you did.
And sir?
No, I mean yeah. I mean, I don't think bullying is fully able to avoid it, but I think the most important is how it's dealt with. And as I said, like, yeah, if it happened, I mean, it was taken care of. You know, it wasn't allowed to go on. You know, and I mean, I guess it comes down to how much the teachers, once the teachers see it, it's not they allow it. You know what I mean? If bullying happens because it's being hidden, you know what I mean? So the teachers really did take care of it if they did notice it, and they weren't trying to turn a blind eye. They were looking for it. You know what I mean? Because it's a small school, you know, it's very fast to notice if one person's being picked on. You know, and because it's a small school, you got to take care of it. Otherwise, everyone's going to be like, you know what I mean? It really was taken care of. And I don't think I ever experienced any bullying myself. So.
Spencer's comments also reminded me that the school administration is quite swift to deal with expulsion of kids that are serial bullies. So what we noticed is that if the child does not really change and remains a bully, they were quite swift to expel. And we've seen several kids be expelled, you know, throughout the 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, zero tolerance to a lot of issues. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We take it very seriously because every student matters for us in the school. So right away, when there's anything, the principal himself and the vice principal, they intervene and they are involved in the whole details, and they keep following up until we make sure it is over. But as Spencer was saying, there's a lot of hidden stuff when it comes to bullying. So sometimes it's very hard to figure it out right away, or like it's following up. So, but we try our best as much as we can. I don't know if Alan, you want to share more about that?
Well, I think concerning bullying, it's very we take it very seriously. Actually, with our new principal, the reason why we put him as the new principal is because of discipline. So for sure, for him, bullying is on top of his list to deal with. So
Exactly.
I don't think, in terms of the culture of the school, the discipline is really high on the list for us. Okay. So, Mr. and Mrs. Haddad, and is there any other questions, or did we answer to all your questions?
You're welcome. It's a pleasure, Mr. Haddad.
Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate what nice words that you're saying. It feels very comfortable to send my daughter maybe soon. I guess year or the year after. We're Christian. We're Greek. We're
Orthodox.
not Greek.
Oh, you're welcome. We have all different denominations in the school.
Yeah, I want my daughter, even though
How old? Sorry.
she's 2 years right now.
She's 3 years, you said?
2
Okay.
years. She's
2 years. Okay.
And even though I don't have a big belief, but I want my daughter to be
Believer,
to
Christian.
believer and to be taught in a Christian school, which I did in my childhood. I've been in a Christian school all my life. I felt safe. That's why I'm actually just trying to ask all these questions, and thank you for your time.
I just want to tell you that we have a virtual open house coming up this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. So if you have time, you will be welcome.
I registered for that one as well. Thank you.
That's good. Yeah.
And, hi.
She's watching too.
So we're talking to a future student.
So she's by herself.
Thank you.
Yes. Is it okay if you leave your email address?
I think I have it.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
You have registered in the
Yes,
for the open house. Yes, I received your email. Thank you so much.
I'm
We're
gonna
more than
reply to
happy
you.
to communicate with you and keep in touch with you to inform you about all like events in the school, like open house or anything that could be informative for you about the school.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Welcome. Monsieur Kouadi, est-ce que vous avez des questions pour nous?
Oui, mais seulement que moi, comme vous le savez, moi je parle français.
Oh, oui, vous parlez français, c'est ça.
Exactement, et donc je n'ai pas compris beaucoup de choses qui ont été dites. C'est-à-dire que c'est en anglais.
Okay.
Ce que je veux savoir, est-ce que pour les élèves, avant de rentrer, avant de participer aux activités de l'école, avant de faire l'entrée scolaire, devront-ils passer un test d'abord, avant d'avoir accès à l'école?
OK. Donc, je vais répondre à cette question parce que ça a rapport avec l'admission.
Oui.
Oui, il y a une test d'évaluation, il y a une évaluation pour la rentrée.
OK.
Donc, ça passe, c'est pour l'année prochaine, c'est ça?
Exactement, c'est pour l'année prochaine.
Pour l'année prochaine, la première évaluation, c'est le 17 octobre. Donc,
de cette année?
Dans 2 samedis qui s'en viennent.
OK, ça c'est le test est passé par les enfants.
Oui, c'est une évaluation pour l'enfant. OK. C'est pas une évaluation très intensive pour la maternelle. Je pense que votre enfant est à maternelle, c'est ça? Ou...
Non, cette année, c'est 2e année du primaire et 4e année du primaire.
2e en allant à 3e, à la 3e?
Exactement.
4e pour la 5e.
Exactement, c'est ça.
OK, parfait. Donc, l'évaluation va durer à peu près 1 heure et demie, à peu près.
1 heure et demie.
À peu près,
Ok,
oui.
vous avez dit c'est le 27 octobre.
Le 17
Le 17
octobre à 9 heures du matin.
À 9 heures du matin. Ok.
Oui. On a votre information. Donc, on va vous contacter pour
Ok.
plus d'informations. Présentement, c'est
Mais
pour sur place.
ok,
Mais
mais le 17 octobre, le 17 octobre, ah oui, c'est beau, c'est un samedi. Ok, ok.
oui, c'est ça.
C'est un samedi, ok, c'est beau alors. Ok, c'est beau.
OK.
Oui.
Puis aussi, je vous invite à notre porte ouverte virtuelle qui
Oui,
aura lieu le 8 octobre.
le 8 octobre, ok, j'y serai.
Parfait.
N'oubliez pas de m'envoyer le lien comme aujourd'hui.
Oui, ce serait sur le site. Ce sera sur le site. Vous allez pouvoir trouver le lien.
Ok, ok,
Oui, la journée même. La journée même.
ok, c'est gentil.
OK.
Merci beaucoup.
Bienvenue.
Ok.
Je vais essayer de faire ça en français, mais mon français, c'est pas le meilleur. Alors, la question, c'était pourquoi est-ce qu'on avait choisi l'école originalement? Et puis, alors nous, on avait choisi l'école parce que une fois que nos deux des trois enfants, ils ont quitté le primaire, on ne voulait pas une école qui est grande et puis dans laquelle nos enfants allaient se perdre. On voulait une école qui est un peu plus comme un sens de communauté, un peu plus intime. Et en même temps, on voulait une école qui est basée sur des valeurs chrétiennes, en sachant même que ce n'est pas nécessairement une école biblique, mais quand même au moins les professeurs ont un arrière-plan chrétien et la direction de l'école a un arrière-plan chrétien. Alors ça, c'était certaines des raisons principales pourquoi on avait choisi l'école. Et puis aussi, deux de nos trois enfants avaient eu des mauvaises expériences de, je ne sais pas comment on dit ça en français, mais bullying. Ils avaient eu des problèmes, même des problèmes de violence un peu dans l'école primaire. Et puis, on était vraiment contents parce que à l'école chrétien Emmanuel, vous savez, comme dans toutes les écoles, il y a des élèves qui proviennent de toutes sortes d'arrière-plans. Et puis, alors, ils ont quand même eu quelques petits problèmes, mais qu'est-ce qu'on a aimé beaucoup? C'est que la discipline était très stricte. Et puis, les dirigeants de l'école et les professeurs étaient beaucoup en touche avec la réalité et puis ils agissaient avec beaucoup de vitesse pour ne pas permettre, par exemple, la violence. Et je ne parle pas nécessairement de violence physique, mais plus de violence verbale. Et puis, on a vraiment aimé l'approche discipline dans l'école. C'était une approche qui était stricte, mais en même temps, il y avait beaucoup de grâce aussi. Alors, et pour nous, ça a été aussi un genre de modèle pour nos enfants pour voir que c'est non seulement la discipline, mais en même temps, il y a un aspect rédempteur. Oui, alors, en résumé, je pense que c'était ça en français. Peut-être aussi dans une des questions, c'était marqué, c'est quoi le plus gros impact que l'école a eu sur vos enfants? Et je pense que pour moi et ma femme, en secondaire 3, il y a toujours un voyage de mission que les élèves de secondaire 3 ils font. Et puis d'habitude, c'est au Belize. Il y a aussi l'option de faire une mission ici à Montréal si les élèves ne veulent pas aller faire un voyage à l'étranger. Pour nous, je pense que ça, c'était un des plus grands événements qui a vraiment impacté nos deux aînés. Malheureusement, notre troisième enfant, l'année dernière, à cause de COVID, ils ont dû canceller le voyage. Mais pour nous, c'était un très grand impact pour qu'ils puissent aller à un autre pays et puis voir un peu le moyen dans lequel les gens y vivent et puis d'aider. Et puis, je pense que pour nous, ça, c'était quelque chose qui était très différent de ce qu'on voit un peu dans la culture des autres écoles.
Hi, Mrs. Marshall. Welcome to the roundtable by Emmanuel Christian School. Shall we answer more questions? How about we have the question for Spencer? So what did you appreciate most about the school during your time there? So Spencer is our alumni.
So I enjoyed a lot of things. I enjoyed everyone being together. You know, I mean, it's a big family. You know, and when I graduated, I miss because like you get the bigger school at John Abbott. It's not the same. You see people, but that's it. At Emmanuel, you knew everybody. You know, even different grades were friends. You know, at lunchtime we would go to the gym and everyone would play the same sport often enough. You know, and we'd play basketball with younger grades. You'd have Sec 1 to Sec 5 all playing together. Everyone got along, and the education was really good too. You know, I mean, there was a lot of people that did really well on final exams, even the ministerial ones. There were a lot of ones top 10% of the province. You know, mark wise on these tests, and you know, it's not everywhere. Not every school has that, and I was surprised even at Abbott in the science program. There's some students that they don't have as much. They're not as good at some of the stuff that I totally remembered from high school that we were taught. You know, so I mean, between everything there, I really enjoyed my time. It gave me the chance to try a lot of new things with the drama play and the different sport teams. There's the student council, you know, just chance to get involved, you know. And so one of the other students that actually came from that was a year older than me, he took over the student body council or whatever at John Abbott, and now he's making a push to take over the one at McGill as well, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of people that have done really well in different things, and it gives you a chance. He really started at Emmanuel and was in charge of this committee, in charge of that committee, and because it's a smaller school, there's maybe less competition, so it gives you better chance to be part of some of these things, you know, like these different councils and that. I mean, it's really good for your. It teaches you to work as a team, you know. In this day and age, it's really important to work in a team, and I felt that I really learned that at Emmanuel.
Thank you very much. Very good insight.